You fucking cunts. Here I am trying to make a YouTube video about geography, and all you want is a fucking liberal diss track. Okay, all I can promise is that it's coming out before March. Still uploading more than some people. Anyway, the Australian landscape of the outback, coastal forests, and kangaroos have become familiar to many of us today, but it's good to understand how the environment became this way in the first place. Trees are incredibly important for recycling the water that falls on them through a process known as transpiration. Transpiration, summed up, is evaporation from trees. You see, trees don't actually use 97 to 99% of the water that they take in, instead being transpired back into the atmosphere. Entire ecosystems depend on transpiration from trees. In large forests, they recycle the majority of the water that falls through transpiration. This can lead to the sustainability and sometimes expansion of rainforests. Although the rain these ecosystems get is not only from transpiration, but their part is incredibly important. Central Australia, when humans arrived, did not resemble what Australia looked like today. There was an abundance of megafauna that appeared across the continent, and humans arrived. Looks like all the megafauna's dead. Whoops. Rainforests covered a massive part of the continent, and inland rivers permanently flowed. Lakes that are today epithermal, like Lake Eyre, were permanently full, as well as being deep water. There were rainforests 10 times older than the Amazon rainforest that covered most of Australia. There were two main reasons for the destruction of the rainforest in Australia. The first reason for it was because of a global cooling event happening at the time, due to changes in the Earth's orbit. This reduced rainfall a significant amount. The other reason for it was Aboriginals using fire stick farming for various reasons. This reduced rainfall and made the Central Australian monsoon come later and later. Over thousands of years, the rainforest started transitioning to grasslands and eventually deserts. In areas along the coast and in the Murray-Darling Basin, new eucalypt forests grew. This formed the Australia familiar today, but also ended up leading to a mass extinction of Australia's megafauna. It's still unknown whether humans directly caused the destruction of Australia's rainforests, but the massive part is indisputable. The Aboriginals still cared deeply about Australia, and only accidentally partly caused a climate shift in the continent. On the contrary, Europeans have knowingly been incredibly damaging to Australia's environment. Fish levels in Australia's rivers are below 10% of what they were before Europeans arrived. Massive areas have been deforested, fire services have been cut, and current climate change has made the start of this year by far the worst fire season on record. Much work needs to be done to help the environment recover. The Amazon rainforest is being deforested at an alarming rate. Central Australia's rainforests were destroyed over thousands of years, whereas the Amazon is being cleared in just decades. This has led to record droughts in the region. This is because the Amazon recycles the majority of the water that falls inside it through transpiration. It's still unlikely that the Amazon would turn into a desert because it still gets around half of its rainfall from the surrounding oceans, likely turning into a savanna or something similar to East Africa. This would be significantly less productive and significantly worse than climate change, not just because it wouldn't be collecting CO2 anymore, but because its carbon stores would also be released. So I think a good question to ask now would be if Australia is being reforested at the moment. Sadly, because of these cunts, land clearing in Australia has increased by over 1,300% under the coalition. This has made Australia one of the world's worst countries for land clearing on Earth. According to one of the WWF's reports, Australia is now on the same level as Indonesia, Brazil, the Congos, and parts of East Africa. If there's even a question of Australia being reforested, the coalition has to go. Anyway, if Australia was reforested, it would see an approximately 90% increase in rainfall and potentially permanently get rid of Australia's water scarcity problem. So, is there any chance of Australia being reforested naturally? Well, climate change will result in there being more irregular weather patterns with more extreme droughts or flooding. There is a chance that there will be more rain in northern Australia and less rain in southern Australia, but it is not entirely known yet. If northern Australia gets more rain, it could potentially fill rivers flowing south, but that could just be one good thing compared to a lot of very bad things. In 2019, Southeast Australia was experiencing its worst drought on record. It is unclear what climate change will do for reforestation in Australia, but right now it's looking disastrous for this continent. Right now there is large reforestations going on across the world, most notably in China and Africa. Africa's effort is in a region which is called the Sahel, which is between the Sahara Desert and the grasslands of Central Africa, which once hosted large civilizations like Mali. Because of things like climate change, the Sahel region has been trying for decades. These efforts were started by the advancing of deserts, not just because, but these projects have been failing, not just because of climate change, but also because of poor management. Australia is a vast, diverse, and changing land. The rainforests from thousands of years ago to the dry bush of today have always been unique to Australia. There's no other place on Earth quite like it.